Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Josh Ellsworth, and welcome to today's webinar, How to Print and Profit with Hats. I'm broadcasting to you live from southwestern Pennsylvania in our Stahls TV studios, and I'm excited to spend 45 minutes to an hour with you, take your questions, show you some profit opportunities that are out there for you in headwear, and also some how-to knowledge. So I know there are a lot of people joining us potentially for the first time through this webinar platform. So there is a place over in the right-hand side of your screen where you can chat in questions directly. I have Stacy that'll be on helping me today in answering those questions in the chat. And then we'll also stop several times throughout the presentation where I'll be able to look in on the questions and take some that I think would be beneficial to the whole group and share those responses here. And so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start the presentation. And we'll be able to go through a quick slideshow. And I do have my hat press behind me and a lot of jobs ready to roll. So we're going to spend a lot of our time together decorating. So first thing I want to talk through is headwear and really the opportunity in headwear. And I spent some time going through some data that was published just at the end of last year from the Advertising Specialty Institute, ASI, that they had published. And it really helps us to understand headwear as a promotional product, a product for branding. That's why we print items, whether it's for teams or organizations. It's for awareness. It's to get the word out there, to have people see the brand, recognize the brand, want to be a part of the brand. And so when we look at the 2019 Global Ad Impression Study, we see product ownership in the US. And the thing I want you to settle in on here is that 69% of the market owns a piece of promotional headwear. And so that is just behind bags, just behind t-shirts in the grand scheme of things. So when we think about promotional products and branding for companies and ad impressions of getting that logo seen, headwear is a big category. And there's some particular data points in this study that I want to point out to you. And so when I read through the study, what I saw was that if you look at all of the potential promotional products that were rated, you see that quality and utility were the top cited reasons for somebody hanging on and keeping that product. And so I would encourage you to go over to the ASI website, download this study yourself. I can't share it with you. You have to enter your information to be able to download it, but there are some great data points in here about the various products. And one thing that I notice is when you think of decorating headwear, there is another element that is of critical importance. So if you look over in the stat on the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see attractiveness. So people hang on to their promotional headwear if it looks great. And so that's why in this presentation, we're going to concentrate on creating high-end, great-looking headwear, because I think it's going to be more beneficial when you're decorating for your customers, for your teams with the brand logo, whatever it may be, and that people are going to want to hang on to this. And these data points are going to be a way that you can potentially upgrade your customer when you're showing them a good, better, best option for personalized headwear. You're going to be able to coach them into the better or best because it's going to be more effective for the client that they're decorating for, whether that's a brand or whether that's a team. So that was really interesting. Another thing that I want to point out for you, and this is going to help you sell promotional headwear, is the impressions. So when you compare impressions on promotional products, which is how often they get seen, which is a combination of where people wear those items and how often they wear them and keep the items. All of this data was furnished by ASI. You'll see that headwear is tied with the t-shirt. The only thing that gains more impressions than headwear is a nice piece of outerwear as far as how clients hang on to them and how often they wear them. So this is a really impactful promotional product. And that gets me really excited because there have been a lot of challenges with decorating headwear in the past. I know a lot of folks prefer an embroidered hat, and I don't blame you. I have preferred an embroidered hat as well up until this point, but technology has come so far over the last 2 years for the types of logos that can go onto hats, which we're going to experience here today, as well as the hat press itself, and the innovations that have come out with our new Hotronix 360 IQ. I think you'll see that heat printing headwear is a really viable technology in 2020 and beyond. And so when we take all of that data together, I wanted to present this to you as the headwear summary. And so we see that 69% of consumers out there own some piece of promotional headwear. Actually, 1/3 of men wear their promotional headwear weekly or more often, which I think is a really cool stat when you think about it. When we take the average time that a piece of promotional headwear is kept, we come to 10 months, and then you'll see that the stats we shared before, that attractiveness is a key element, as well as the amount of impressions that you get out of that headwear piece. And so our cost per impression for a piece of headwear, if you're positioning this to a client that wants to do a giveaway and get their brand seen, so bigger than just decorating for team sports, we're talking about decorating for companies and brands as well. You can see that 0.3 cents per impression. And something else that I want to point out to you that I've noticed is that when you were doing calls like we're doing today, what are you seeing? You're only seeing from the waist up on the presenter. In our new world, because of the pandemic, we're all on a lot of these video conferences and Zoom calls, and you can trust that people are meeting in this way. And so when we think of our new virtual world that we're living in, we hope events will open back up. But when we think of this virtual world, there's limited real estate as far as branding opportunity. We have the traditional left chest logo. You don't really need to wear a face mask on a video conference, but we have the opportunity for headwear. And I've seen more and more of even our salespeople showing up to meetings with a piece of headwear on. And so I think it's a great opportunity for being up front. Of course, drinkware is another opportunity that you're going to see a lot in virtual meetings. So consider that whenever you are decorating and whenever you are positioning products. So a couple more slides that I want to talk to you. Now that we understand the opportunity that's out there for headwear, I want to give you a recent job that I completed. And really what I wanted to show here was the profit opportunity for decorating hats, because we're going to talk about printing a lot today. I also want you to have some scope of profit. And so I've explored a lot of different styles of hats, a lot of different styles of decoration. The one you are seeing on the screen is a product that we'll use a lot today, and it's called Flex Style. I know some embroiderers have positioned it as liquid embroidery. And so it's just a higher perceived value than your traditional decorated piece. You're seeing this a lot in the headwear retail stores. You're seeing this a lot for championship hats that are handed out everywhere from the NCAA to the NBA to the NFL. You're seeing this type of product called Flex Style. And so this was an actual job that I completed for a customer that was 14 hats. He was waiting to get his hat press in because we were on a 3-month waiting list for this hat press. But this only took 15 minutes to produce. And he was able to sell these hats for $25 each. Up in the top left, you'll see the cost to produce each hat was $15.85. And actually about $12 of that was the blank Nike hat that you see here. And based on that, the total job profit was $128.10 for 15 minutes of time. And so I want you to understand that we aren't talking about a low profit opportunity. When you take into account the relatively low cost of a hat press and you take into account the high profit opportunity on each hat that you're able to decorate, we can start to drive profit numbers of $300 to $500 per hour when we have the machine running. So as I like to say lately, it's not about whether the machine can make the work, it's how can you position it and how you can sell it. But you should get really excited about the profit opportunity that's available to your business in headwear with a relatively small footprint for the heat press. I mean, you can operate this in a spare bedroom. You can probably operate 6 of these in a spare bedroom, frankly. So today we're going to be decorating with a few primary products, but there are 4 products that I think really drive retail looks in headwear, and we're focusing on the attractive, the premium side of the market. I'm going to show you how each one of these work today. I'm going to go through the cost structure of the 3 that we have launched, and also deeper into the how-to of the 3 that we have launched. But let's go through them real quickly. Up in the top left, you'll see leather. I haven't seen anything take off like leather patches have. So whether it's a genuine leather or whether it's a faux leather, the look that you're able to get with leather onto hats is trending right now. That's something that's possible for you, and we'll talk a little bit about the economics of that and how to decorate with leather. Flex style we've already talked about, and so we're going to show you some different styles of flex style, talk about the profit opportunity with that a little further. 3D embroidery at the bottom left, this is one that I love because I don't know, growing up, I like to go shop at Lids or whatever the headwear retail store. I can think of a bunch of them that cycled in and out of my local mall. And I always gravitated towards the baseball cap. And typically you saw a 3D embroidered logo on that. In my case, a P for the Pittsburgh Pirates in my region, but you see it on the iconic Boston Red Sox hats, New York Yankees hats, LA Dodgers hats, San Francisco Giants, etc. You think of that dimensional 3D embroidery. And that is a really challenging process to execute. We have customers talking all the time on our Facebook groups on how to source the right product for it, dealing with thread breaks and the challenges. Well, we're going to show you an easier way today with just a heat press that you can execute on 3D embroidery. And then, of course, the traditional embroidered patches. We don't have this one quite ready for prime time through Stahls, but I want to talk about it and make sure it's included because this is a product that we're going to be launching in the month of August. And so I think it's important to understand that this is an option for headwear as well. If you don't want the 3D look, you can do the traditional embroidered patch, save a little bit of money, and still get a really high-end result. So with that in mind, I want to hit one more thing before we go into the how-to training, and I look in at some questions as we're going through it. And that is the reason that we've named the heat press behind me, that you'll get a close-up look at, the 360 IQ, is not only is it smart, that's the IQ part, but it has the ability to do 360 degrees of print area around a hat. And that's a big change from hat presses of the past with how they are built. So whether that's a bucket style hat or a traditional style hat or a visor, the idea that I can rotate the hat around the press to not only incorporate a primary logo, but a sponsor logo and perhaps even a little bit of personalization really opens up the opportunity for me to create something that's going to be impactful for the advertiser, for the brand logo that's going on it, or frankly, is just going to look cool or something that's going to stand out for the team, for the player on the field, regardless of what we're decorating for. So with that in mind, I want you to come in close here. I'm going to swing you around and we're going to get a close-up look of our 360 IQ hat heat press. And I'm going to walk you through how to decorate with these products. So just slide it out so you can see the full press here. And let's talk about what's so special about this press. Number one, it heats not only from the top, but it heats from the bottom. And so this is a dual silicone platen. And what that means is the silicone is a soft landing surface. When combined with the heat from underneath the press and the shape of the platen, I never have to change this attachments. So I've read about it, and I know some of you are able to master hats with traditional heat transfer vinyl and screen printed transfers and those sorts of things on a standard hat press. But let's be honest, it takes some building up of the platen. There's interchangeable platens, but we do a lot to try to get the bottom attachment to fit the hat right, so we're not getting that dreaded crease that goes across the front of the hat. And so when we talk about the crease on the front of a hat, let's take something like this, a structured cap. When you go to print this structured cap with a regular platen, and structured means that it has a fused buckram, that it's kind of firm and has some structure up at the top of it, we get that nasty crease mark that runs through here. And so I know that there are hat press masters that have hacked their press with mouse pads and foam and old t-shirts and everything in between to fill in that gap and get rid of the crease, but it's not easy for everybody, and it's not plug and play out of the box. Also, something important here that I don't want you to miss, I mentioned it heats from the bottom, but that combination of having that silicone pad and heating from the bottom is going to allow me to do dimensional logos like we've talked about. So you want to do something that's thick like this, the 3D embroidery product. This is going to be extremely challenging to do on a traditional hat press because the heat's only coming from the top. And so you need a lot of heat to come from the top to be able to get through the thickness of this, to be able to reach the adhesive so it sticks and so it stays and so it can't be peeled off. And so the combination of the platen heating from the bottom and the 360 degrees of placement gives me a machine that is going to allow me to move in to new opportunities with what's trending out there at retail. And we're going to create some of those looks. So let's jump in here and let's see, where do we want to start today? I think we'll start with flex style. We'll press some hats in flex style because I feel like this is one of the more popular ones out there, and there's a lot of options. So flex style looks like this. So this is the logo that you actually saw earlier. And so it's dimensional. It's kind of stands off the edge of the hat. So it's, I don't know, maybe about 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch thick standing off the edge of the hat. And it also has the ability to be textured. This product can come in a flat option like you're seeing here, but the product can also come in a metallic option. And so this is our textured version of the flex style. You're seeing those ridges and those grooves. And then we also have a domed version of the flex style. So this shows you a version of the domed with the metallic option. And so you're seeing how it stands up off of the hat. You're also seeing the metallic sheen to it. So there are a lot of choices when it comes to ordering flex style. I'll go through the pricing and everything of it here in a second, but I want to print some hats with this. So we're going to start off. Let's start off with a structured cap. So structured caps, I would say, are more difficult than unstructured. Just to make sure I don't leave anybody behind, let me compare. So structure, again, has the fused buckram behind it. Those are more prone to crease. If you just have a traditional cap press and you want to press some of these, you don't want to buy a new machine right now, I would focus on the unstructured caps because they're less likely to leave a crease and can take some more heat. Also, in addition to structure versus unstructured, the other important thing you need to understand is whether you're dealing with a 5-panel or a 6-panel cap. So every hat that you decorate, there's going to be a seam structure here, and then you can count the panels. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So a 6-panel cap traditionally has the seam going straight down the center of the cap. That creates some challenges for printing with some products with the seam wanting to strike through. So if you want to use heat transfer film, try using a little bit thicker heat transfer film on your cap when you're going directly over the seam, or try lightening your pressure and doing really light pressure if you're using a thin heat transfer film. But the cool thing about heat transfer is, unlike screen printing, is I can go directly over the seam with very little issue. And I'm able to decorate not only a 5-panel cap like you see here where there's no center seam, but I'm able to decorate 6-panel caps without issues. So you have structured versus unstructured, 5-panel versus 6-panel. And then the last important thing that I think is, of course, the fabric type. And while most hats are comprised of cotton and polyester, there are a lot more hats right now that are trending that are polyester base or even acrylic. They have a high content of acrylic, which is another synthetic fabric. And so when you see polyester in that cap construction, or you see acrylic, you know it's going to be a lot more prone to scorching. So if you want to decorate with a traditional cap press and you want to do leather and some of these looks, look for a cotton twill cap that's unstructured, and you may have good results there. It's your best bet. If you really want to do all style of caps like we're going to do here today with dimensional logos, you're going to need something like this machine. Actually, you're going to need this machine to be able to accomplish that. So again, we're going to start with the structured 6-panel flex fit cap. This is a high-tech performance material. And I'm going to start by teaching you the loading technique. It's 97% polyester and 3% spandex. So I have my top heat at 280 degrees, my bottom heat at 320 degrees. The timer on this machine, it's all touchscreen control. I have the timer right now set at 40 seconds. I'm going to drop it down to 30 seconds. It will go all the way up to 60 seconds, which we'll use on the 3D embroidery a little bit later. But with every product I've pressed so far on this machine, the top heat uses 280, the bottom 320. And you might say, hey, my items still scorch at 280, but you'll see here how it uses this recipe and we still don't get the scorching. So step number one, you're going to load the hat on. Let me see if I can bring you up just a little closer for a better view. There we go. So step number one, we're going to load the hat on. Then there is a hold down device on this side of the machine. You can see the lever here. It's going to lock into place, and you can see how it holds that hat tight against the platen. Now, I do want to tell you that you do need to adjust this slightly after your hold down device is locked down and pull just to get the hat flush. And you'll catch on to this once you start printing a lot of hats, but you want to eliminate the gap space between the lower platen and between the print area of the hat. And so some of these low profile hats, which don't sit up high like this one, they're more of a low profile, like a dad hat, something like that. You start to get a little bit more of a gap. So when you load it, it can be fixed. You just kind of tug it down here, tug it down on the sides, and then wiggle it, and you get it nice and flush. Okay, and the sweatband flips out, and then the bill of the cap sits down. There's a little ridge here that it sits right into to make sure you have the hat positioned properly. So loading on this machine is everything. Once you learn how to load and get your hat loaded right, it's going to make your life a lot easier. So I'm actually going to do a couple different placements on this hat to show you the 360 capability. The first one is, it says Nemacolin Country Club. It's like a special edition gold for 100 years. Flex style transfer. So it comes just like this. You can have free floating pieces. It doesn't need to just be one piece. It'll all pre-position on this carrier, so you can do free floating text or whatever. And it has the heat activated adhesive in the back. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line it up. Now, again, this is heated from the bottom, so get my hand out of the way. I'm just going to hold this here for a second, and that's going to get the patch or the emblem to hold temporarily so it's not wobbling on top of the hat. All right, so load it, position your print, and then the next thing that's really critical to this process is using the right cover pad. So this is different than craft paper or Teflon cover sheet. The machine actually comes with a cover pad. It comes with 3 different thicknesses. I have the 2 that I'm going to use today here, which is the thin, that's an 1/8 inch thin, and then a 1/4 inch, which is the medium thickness. There's also a 1/2 inch thickness. Haven't found a use for it yet, but it's in the box when you get your press in case we come out with something next that it uses. So you're just going to take this pad, and it just lays down over. There's no preheating required on this press because it's already heating from the bottom up. The pad helps to protect the entire hat so that it's not going to scorch when you lock it down. So 280 on top, 320 on bottom, 30 seconds. I'm just going to lock it down into place, and you'll feel it click, and then it's going to count down to 0. Now, this machine does have an automatic opening, so I always tell somebody, if you really get rolling with hats and you can sell enough business, it's very possible for one person to operate multiple machines, especially when we get into the 3D embroidery and the 60-second dwell time. One operator can actually operate 3 machines to increase your throughput once you start to get larger jobs. And so keep asking your questions. I am going to look in on them here in a second, but we're going to press this cap. Before I remove the backing from the cover, I'm just going to unlock the hold down device, just remove this off to the side, right? And then I just don't want it against the hot heater when I go to peel it. So then I just peel away the excess, and then we have our print, and you get some nice dimension texture. It's actually reflecting really nicely with that metallic gold. So very quick, very easy. I know it's tough to see with all the lighting, but there's absolutely no crease mark here on this hat, and there's no scorching. Even if we look close to the edge, you see no difference in the hat from where the heater locked down and where it didn't. And so that is the benefit of the 360 IQ. It's one recipe, just change your time, very easy to do. Now, when we talk about 360, here's what I mean. The fact that you can do a side location, very easy. You actually have enough room, even on your hats with a really large bill. There's plenty of clearance down here. If we take a peek down, there's plenty of clearance here where that bill gets to hang underneath. Now, I am going to do a back brand location. I still recommend flipping this sweatband out so it doesn't mess around with your pressure, and you're still going to try to line that up against the ridge on the press. For the back print, you can see it's holding pretty flat. I don't even need the hold down device in this particular case. And let's just say that GM was sponsoring this golf tournament. So this is a place where you'd put the golf tournament logo on front, and then you put a little brand icon on the back placement. And so again, I'm just going to position it, hold it down for a second to get it to hold into place. And then I will take my cover pad, lay it down over, and it follows the same recipe. I'll do the 30 seconds now, just on the back print location. So let me look at some questions while this hat press is finishing up this application. Yeah, we will share a link to the hat press. So if we haven't done that already, Stacy, if you don't mind sharing the link, you're getting all my background studio stuff there. So if you don't mind sharing the link to the hat press, we are in a pre-order stage right now on this press. And so here's what that means. We're running about a 3 to 3.5 month turn time. So if you say, wow, I watched this session, I want that machine today. I had an issue there. I'll explain that here in a second. I watched this session, I want that machine today. Then all you are going to do is go ahead and get on that pre-order list from the link, put your name on the list. And when your name comes up, which will be in about 3.5 months, we'll call you. And at that time, we'll take your credit card. So if you know you want the machine, you want multiple machines after you see today's session, get on the list. You don't need to put any money down. You're just committing to say, yes, I want this machine. We'll call you. And then you'll be able to give us the credit card or whatever it might be to move forward. And so always something happens. And so let me explain this one. This is not the hat press's fault. This is the sample emblems fault that came in. It absolutely did not stick one bit, which tells me the sample emblem that I got sent here had absolutely zero adhesive on it. And so that's an issue. I can touch it even still while it's hot. There's no adhesive there. And so that's an issue with the transfer, not the press. And so we will go ahead and try something else there. We won't be defeated. So I want to show you the 360 degrees of printability. And so that will take us into another product, which I really like for this hat press, and it's called Ultracolor. So for those of you that have been watching these sessions, you know that Ultracolor Soft is one of my favorite new products for branding on any product. And it's one of my favorite products for hats as well. So Ultracolor Soft is a full color transfer. It's screen printed and it's digital. And you can put as many colors as you want in your design, as many colors as well as photo quality. And so I'm just going to put this American flag design down. You always operate this press with the cover pad on. And I know that the Ultracolor takes 45 seconds. So this is the 360 IQ control board. So you can program all of your settings in the control board and name them for the product. So it's very easy to select. In this case, I'm just going to print that down. And while it's pressing, I'll show you an example of the Ultracolor on this hat. And this hat also shows you a really nice example of your full range print area, how large of a design that you can do on a hat. So that gives you an idea of what's possible. So let's take a look at some other questions. The Ultracolor sheet size is a question that came in. And so the transfer that we're doing right now, the sheet size, the full sheet is 11.5 by 18 inch. I love the full sheet because you can gang up lots of different images onto one sheet. It is a minimum quantity of 5 sheets when you're ordering in the full sheet size. We also have lots of different sizes for Ultracolor, because if you're like, I just need a small logo for hats like this American flag logo, in that particular case, you can actually order just an individual image. So we have an extra small, which off top of my head is like 2.5 by 2.5 roughly. You can order a 20 minimum of just a single image that way. You'll get the most bang for your buck by filling the whole sheet, because then you'll save on all the logos. But if you just need 20 pieces of a single full color image, you can order an extra small size for your hat or a small size. We have about 5 different sizes that you can pick from. Now, Ultracolor is a cold peel, so it's been applied, but I need to let it cool completely down. And I mean completely down before I can peel the backing. So I'm just going to sit that one to the side and try to remember to do it later. All right. So there are some other questions here. So Johnny got his 360 2 months ago. Yeah, so we started shipping the 360s a while ago. We have a really big back order pre-order list, which is why we're running on a 3.5 month turn time. But you can rest assured that we are shipping these machines every single weekday that we're open. And we're actually, one of the exciting things, this is fully made here in the US out of our Hotronix facility right here in Pennsylvania, where I'm from. We're actually growing that facility and adding more shifts to be able to keep up with the demand that we're seeing right now on these machines and some of our other machines. So if you want on the list, we'll share the link out. Stacy, can you just chime in? We're able to share the link because I'm getting buried in all the comments here.
Yep, I've been sharing the links as you go over them.
Okay, so you guys are juiced and ready for the cat press, I see. So that's what somebody said. So click the link and you can get on that pre-order list. And the question from Solomon is, will the middle seam show through the ultra color? And the answer is no. This one has a middle seam and you're getting really good coverage here. I will say that when you're going over the seam with the ultra color, after you cold peel it, I usually like to put it back on the press and just hit it with the cover pad for another 15 seconds. That second step will really bury it, I think, and like get it to conform into the seam, which I think is a higher quality end product. And you really can't mess up hats if you're heating and reheating them. As you saw with the one that had the transfer that didn't stick, I reheated the back and still no scorching on that, as long as you follow the recommendation with the cover pad and the setting. All right, take a couple more questions here. All right. Boom. So Jaime, I believe, or Jamie, I'm not sure how that is pronounced, asks, are there spec sheets with guidelines on heat pressing for each style, leather, flex style, 3D embroidery that you can download somewhere? Right now, those are on the product pages. So while we're there, let me go over to flex style. I'm going to share my screen with you guys here for a second. When you go to the Stahls homepage, all you're going to do is go to custom logos up at the top. You'll go to heat applied, and under emblem and patches, you can get to the three products we're talking about here today primarily, other than ultra color, but the dimensional products are right here. So if you wanted to go into flex style, you just click that. It will load the product page for you. And then on the product page, you will be able to see the application guide. So flex style, 280, 320, 20 seconds. So every product page has the application instructions for the 360 IQ right on there. And if you have questions, just chime in on our Facebook group or email info@Stahls and we can help you. Now let's talk about profit really quick. So I pulled up the flex style price list, and of course we love to know how to print, but we'd like to make money even more, I think. And so let me walk through first how to calculate this. So number one, let's look at the formula, which is right here. So in order to calculate the pricing on this, all you're going to do is add the length plus the width and divide it by 2 to get into the right category. So the transfer that I just did was, I don't know, about 1.75 by 1.75 because it was a circle on the front of that hat. And of course, divided by 2 is going to equal 1.75. And so what I will do then is I'll go into the price grid, and I will find 1.75, which is in between this 1.5 and 2 inch section right here. And you can see if I'm doing 50 of these designs, it's going to cost me $295 per logo for the flex style. So what you'll find when you're printing hats, a lot of your designs are going to fall either in this bucket or this bucket. Really wouldn't recommend going larger than 2.25 inches on the height of any of your designs with this press. You could probably squeeze out 2.5 if you're really particular, but 2.25 is very comfortable for the operator. And so most of your stuff's going to fall in this bucket, probably in that 50 to 100 piece, unless you line up a big promotional job, and you can see the cost drives down quite a bit. Now, one thing I do want to tell you is that in addition to the price per piece that we're seeing here, there is also a setup fee. And so typically the art setup is $52, but we have a special promotion going on, and we're actually going to share the offer to you right now, where you can save half off of that pricing right now. So you can actually set up your logos right now for $26. So the process is you go to stahls.com, click on the art uploader link, which is in the very top right of our stahls.com webpage. Upload whatever artwork it is you want, select flex style and the particular style of flex style that you want for your transfer. We'll set up the art for you, and you're only going to pay $26 for that setup right now. And that's consistent, $26, which is half off of the $52 for flex style, leather, and 3D embroidery. We're running a promotion for this month. So now is the time to set up your logos. If you have clients that you know you're going to want to use this for, save on setting up the logos. Once you get them set up, you can order the prints whenever. So hopefully you enjoy this. And yeah, this is going to be recorded, and I think we'll publish it out at least to our YouTube page. You can watch it later through Webinar Gem, which is our webinar platform. So want to make sure we want to print a lot today, and I know we have lots of questions, so I'm going to look back at those. So far we've done this structured hat, lower profile, 6-panel with the Flex Style logo, just to show you some other things. I know that I always get the question about visors, and I never have the time to do visors, so I decided I want to do a visor in this class. And so no problem on visors as well. This one, oddly enough, does not have a sweatband, but most visors do. So same thing, you would just flip the sweatband out at this edge, and you can see how I'm lining it up right where that little ridge is right here. And so normally that's where the edge of the bill would sit right there. You're going to lock the hold down device, and you can see it's very easy. I get a nice flat printing surface on my visor as well. Again, I'm going to do a Flex Style transfer. Hopefully this sample they sent has the adhesive on it. But this one is a clear, which I think is really cool. So if you ever want to order our clear Flex Style, it's tough to see, but it's actually view through behind this layer. And so I think that's a really neat technique. So if you want to do some tonal printing or have the item, the color that you're printing show through, you can order the clear. I'm going to just hold it down for a second. I know that one has adhesive because it is holding to my hat better than the previous one. And again, we will lock this down. Flex Style can go on as little as 20 seconds. I had this at 45 seconds because of the last transfer I did. You can't hurt these hats. As long as you're using the cover pad, even if you run your Flex Style at 45 seconds because you just want to, because that's what your press is set for, it's going to stick, it's going to stay. You don't have to worry about it. As long as you're using 280 on top, 320 on bottom with that thin pad, you can go as much as 45 seconds without damaging the hat at all. You can also go for the Flex Style as little as 20 seconds. So there's quite a bit of forgiveness in a range right there. So 3, 2, 1. I'm going to open up. Again, we'll unlock the hold down device, remove it, and you can kind of see how it showed through now. You're getting the color come through, but it has this really nice, tough to see, but clear texture. There it is. You can see the dots in it. That's our textured Flex Style in the clear version. So really nice for branding logos, no issues with pressing visors, no markings on that. If you're one of those customers that owns a Hotronix hat or a Hotronix heat press already, whether it's a Fusion or a Hotronix autoclam or an Air Fusion, this is really nice if you pair it with our hat bill platen, which is a special platen that fits on a flat press, where you can actually load these hats in and press under the bill as well, or flip the hat inside out if you want to do a print location on top of the bill. And I also know customers that will just lay the curved bills on a press like this with top heat only and be able to do branding locations on the top of the bill. But no, a bottom heat's not going to be able to come through a bill of a hat very easily. All right, one last one with Flex Style before I move on to another style. I just want to show you another style of hat. This is a bucket style hat, and this is just to show you that basically there's lots of room and anything's possible on this press. I actually have some people that are pressing left chest logos on this press, or sleeve prints, so you can do a lot of different things. Face masks as well, no problem, but just load the item, lock down the hold down device if you need it. I can feel the moisture coming out of this. It's a cotton twill, so it's holding a lot of moisture in there, so I can actually feel it coming out. So this is one where I actually may do a preheat just to get some of that extra moisture out of there. And then I'll take my brand logo, whatever it is. This is the domed version of Flex Style with the logo here. And so you can see even free-floating text elements, all pre-spaced, makes for easy positioning. Cover. And I will bring this one down to 30 seconds on my touchscreen so we don't have to wait as long. and then we'll lock it into place. All right, so I got somebody that says our prices are crazy. So I want to pull back up in case you missed the profit slide. So these are premium products, and these are products you can make money with, but you have to, I would say, believe first, right? And so if you want to put a inexpensive screen printed transfer on a inexpensive hat, there are opportunities for that. If you want to create a look that's retail ready, that's going to be able to drive a lot of profit to your business, I think you need to separate and offer something different. And so when you talk about being able to do something different, whether that's dimensional on something like this, or a special edition hat, or a 3D embroidery hat, all day I'm telling you the market from everybody I've talked to says you can sell custom headwear from the $15 to $28 price range. And depending on the hat style and the logo style, I'm telling you that you can make it for $12 on the high side, depending on the hat style. The Nike hat that we went over was $15 and change, which of course is going to sell on the higher side. So I believe that you should be able to drive $5 to $10 in profit for every hat you press down. I can make a hat a minute at $5 or $10 in profit is driving $300 to $600 per hour in profit from my press. So I would say that although you are going to pay a couple bucks or a few bucks for a logo, look at the profit opportunity, not necessarily the cost per logo. You can make a ton of money on this machine if you can line up the clients and sell it. So those were a few examples with Flex Style. We're going to move on because I want to make sure we get to some of the other topics. And the next one I want to talk about is leather. And for this particular example, I'm going to show you 3 different choices of leather. And I'm going to have to pull up our webpage because I never can remember the exact names here. But when we talk about leather, this is a genuine leather. And so it's actually laser etched, and you get the logo type. This is more of a tonal one. I do know that this medium color is called our caramel color. I think that's the most popular. And then I'm going to show you the other styles. Share my screen here for a second. And I also am going to look at the costing on the leather for you before we press it. And so again, to get to the leather, you're going to go up here to custom logos, heat applied, and just down to leather patches. And then when you hit on the web page, you'll see the color choices. So we have natural, which is the light color. We have caramel, which is the medium color. And then we have taupe, which is the darker color. So once you get that, you can also go and download the pricing right here, download leather patches pricing. And when we look at the leather, it's the same setup. So again, if I'm doing a 1.75 by, let's say, 2-inch logo, that's going to fall right, and add them together, divided by 2, it's going to fall right in this grid. And I can see at 50 pieces, it's $264. 100 pieces, it's $202 per piece. Again, genuine leather. This isn't the faux leather that I know is out there as well. That's a product that we'll be launching at Stahls at some point as well. That one's a few more months down the road. So those are the 3 options that you can pick from. Again, we have the natural, which is the lighter. We have the caramel, and we have the taupe. And all of them work the same. And so in this case, I have an unstructured cap to show you how to print that. This is a district style hat from Sanmar, so a little more fashion forward style. It's typically in their juniors or young men's market. And I'm going to load that onto the press, lock down the hold down device. Sometimes on the unstructured cap, they're unstructured, so you do need to pay attention to the seam when you are loading it to make sure it is straight vertically and you're looking at it correct so you can get your logo right. Otherwise, you can put it on incorrectly. And we're going to do a taupe version of an American Airlines logo. So nice little tonal effect here. And I'm going to show you the larger print area. So we'll position that into place. Again, we're going to cover it with our cover pad. And the leather is in the same range of the application technique. You can look at the website, but from memory, it's about 35 seconds for application, still the same top heat and the bottom heat. Jessica asked, do we recommend any of our CAD vinyls? You can definitely use the heat transfer vinyl products on this particular machine. I do find that the hot peel products tend to work better, and you want to run those still with the thin cover pad and at 45 seconds. So I've used our new Ultra Weed with no problem. I've used fashion film, thermofilm, flock, glitter. All of those look good. I was just focusing today's session on some of the higher end retail looks. And so very easy to heat apply, no marking. There's your leather patch that's been applied on this unstructured cap. Let's again do another leather, and this time we'll go on a structured hat. Actually, I'll go with this one just so we can do another print location. This is a Port & Company cap, and it's 100% cotton. You can find these hats on the blank apparel section of Stahls.com or transferexpress.com. We have a nice selection of hats there if you navigate to that. Load it, lock it, make sure it's straight. Again, if it's 100% cotton, I do like to preheat just a little bit just to get me a flat printing area. And let's go ahead and do the caramel color on this one. Position it, grab my pad, and press. So I wish it were more complicated than this. Actually, I'm glad it isn't. It makes it easy for you to do. I will say some of the people that received the hat press, the feedback's been really good. The only questions I've been getting are what are the application instructions, and also I can't get my hat loaded right. And so that's why up front I tried to walk you through like pulling that hat tight, pulling from the edges and making sure you have good contact. Actually, one of the more popular styles out there are the Richardson style caps, this 112 trucker style. And one of our customers was having an issue loading this, and we were able to get them, and with the right loading technique, we're able to correct that issue. So I'll show you that real quick. Again, that's done, ready to go. So with the leather, you're getting dimension, it's standing off. This is on there, it sticks and it stays. So if you want to finish it with an embroidery edge, you can, but I think we're starting to move away from that. Actually, if you want to have that embroidered look, I'd recommend designing the stitch pattern, the bean stitch pattern in your artwork when you upload it, and we can actually etch that for you so it looks like it's sewn, but it's actually not sewn at all. So I want to show you this one just to show you if you get your machine, if you're having trouble loading. You can see if you just put the hat on there, there's a big gap here. You can see that bouncing right there. So there's a lot of distance here. But once you lock down your hold down device, which is the first thing I recommend, and then you're going to maneuver the cap from the side, just pull it tight here, and then do a little shake here to seat it down in. And now you can see that's barely moving at all. So it went from having maybe a 1/4 inch of distance in between to about a 1/16 of an inch. And that 1/16 of an inch isn't going to cause any issues when I'm heat applying a product. And so one of the last products I want to show you today before I take some more questions is our 3D embroidered product. And with the 3D embroidery right now, I have these licensed logos as examples, but you can see you have a lot of dimension to them. They stand off. Now, one big thing about the 3D embroidered product, and we'll go ahead and do the Texans logo. Again, I'm going to position until it holds tight, and then I'm going to use the thicker pad. So you want to use the pad that matches the thickness of your logo. This one is the medium thickness pad, which I use on the 3D embroidered product. So I'll position that into place. I'm going to adjust my time up to the full 60 seconds that the press will allow me to do right on the touchscreen control. And then I'm going to lock the machine down. And it has a firm pressure right now. And so pressure adjustment is something I haven't talked about yet, but you can adjust the pressure right on top of the machine. There's a knob here. And when you lock the machine down, it actually reads the pressure on your digital control board. So that's what we call the 360 IQ. The IQ element is the control board. You can program your presets, and the touchscreen allows you to change everything, and it has the digital pressure indicator. After the logo is made, and you pay that setup fee once, we keep that logo on file for you. Bruce asked the question, for 18 months. Okay, and so as long as you're ordering into that logo, it'll keep refreshing for 18 months. We'll hold everything about that out so you never have to pay that setup fee again. So once the setup fee is sunk, you're good to go. All right, and get some people that are asking about cost. So I'm going to pull up the 3D embroidery costs here in a second. It'll open, unlock, put out, and you have the dimension coming right off of it. So regardless of the style of hat, I feel confident saying the 360 IQ can do it. And also, we know face masks are really popular right now. You can drop a face mask onto here. This curved surface is perfect for printing logos onto face masks as well. And so again, originally I'd intended this to show you how to do a face mask. You're just going to load it onto there. The ultra color takes just 45 seconds. Adjust that down. I'm going to look at all the questions. Cover it with the thin cover pad because it is a thin logo. And lock it down. All right. Well, that's completing. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the questions. All right. Yeah, so some good feedback. Whenever you upload your artwork and you pay that setup fee, you can also order 5 samples of the Flex Style product if you want to decorate with that and show your client before you move forward with a full order. And the cost of that is an additional $25. So basically for the half price setup of $26 and then the additional $25, you can get 5 logos, be able to run that and show your customer before you move forward with the full job, which is really nice. And we do not have the license to be able to provide the trademark logos to you for sale. These are actually produced for clients that hold the license. So you would have to own the license yourself and show us proof of that before we would produce licensed logos for you. Some of the other apparel Steve asked that can be decorated with the machine, left chest logos like this, sleeves, face masks, depending on the bag style. I'd say you can put a bag on it. Also, when I say left chest logos, you'll see it a lot into performance polos, but don't forget about outerwear, which we talked about earlier briefly, and quarter zips. Those are all products that you can apply with the machine. I will say the #1 challenge with putting left chest logos is lining up your stuff and keeping it straight. These dimensional products are very popular for that, but I would recommend that you lay out your item separate from the machine and actually tape your logo into place using thermal tape or marking it with chalk or something, but get your placement done off of the machine where you can see the full shirt, then move it to the machine, get it to a single layer for pressing. It would be no problem. All right. Let's see, some more questions coming in. I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Cover pads are sold separately, Gene. So you do get cover pads that come with your 360 IQ. You get the 3 cover pads that come with the machine, or you can order those cover pads separately from our website. No big deal. And the question from Dorothy was, the bottom plate get hot to touch? I'd say you wouldn't want to leave your hand on here, for a long time, but just touching it like this, especially touching it through a hat or when you may bump it when you're loading your hat, like that doesn't bother me at all. But everybody reacts differently to heat, but to me, it feels comfortable for just loading the hat. No big deal. Yes, so I know some people have been on the list since June. Actually, we are shipping some of the units that are on the list since February. So we're moving through as fast as we can, and just get on the list and stay patient, please. I will say if you're expecting multiple units, get on the list again for your second unit, and we'll call you. And I know some people have ordered the standard Hotronix hat press. I got a comment there from somebody who just recently ordered it. I will say that one thing that this press doesn't do so well is traditional screen printed transfers. It'll do the ultra color. We do have applications for screen printed transfers and sublimation and things like that. But I would say if you have the other hat press, you're able to more comfortably operate that at a high heat than this machine. And so it's going to do a better job on screen printed transfer if you're doing inexpensive hats or unstructured hats that aren't going to scorch. And then also, I really believe that you'll be able to use that hat press for even just face masks. I have a lot of people that paid off their hat press with face masks really quickly. All right. Electrical requirements. I don't know off the top of my head, actually. I know it's on the website. This only pulls 10 amps. So you don't need a dedicated 20 amp circuit or anything. I definitely would recommend plugging it still straight into the wall or through a heavier gauge extension cord. But it only, it's 110 volt, 120 volt actually. So standard household outlet, 800 watts and 10 amps. So that's right on the serial tag of the machine. Okay, so Ernesto says, we have this press, and on some of our hat styles, mostly flat bills that have scorching on the bill, is there any suggestion to solve this? So my guess is what you're meaning is when you load the hat, again, sweatband out. There's a real loading technique to this to pick up speed. Grab corner to corner right here. Here's a nice flat bill hat, and just going to slide it around and on. That keeps it very simple. So you see that motion where I'm just sliding it around and kind of seating it on to get it into the right place. And then I think having your bill lined up with that ridge is going to help. When you go to lock the press down, depending on the style of hat, sometimes the bill actually seems to be bent up instead of down, and you'll get contact here. So this is a good example. It's making just a little contact and moving that bill. So what I recommend doing is as soon as you get the machine down and locked into place with the pad, just pull the bill forward slightly as you're locking it down once you've cleared the top half of the bill, and that seems to help. Another thing you can try, Ernesto, is taking your cover pad and the thin ones a little more pliable, maybe moving your cover pad down a little bit closer to the bill, as tight as you can get it, and then when the heater locks down, that cover pad kind of indents and bends up to protect the bill a little bit. So I know what you're saying. That's in the technique when you're locking the press down and you have the bill. So if you can just tilt the bill slightly without warping, the whole hat and pulling it down to get it locked down, that should solve your issue, I believe. If you're still having issues, shoot me a Facebook message with a video, and I'll take a look at it, or give me the hat style and I'll solve it for you. Price point on this machine is $1,495. If you've been on the pre-order list for a while, you may have got it at introductory offer at $1,295. So congratulations to you, but it is $1,495 moving forward, and get on the list for 2 of them, I say. All right, we shared links for all the products we're demonstrating. I think we're doing pretty good. There is no promo code for the half price setup, but I do want to share the offer with you guys now. So Stacy, can you push out that offer so everybody has the link to be able to click through to the product pages? So that should be out to all of you now through the webinar software. It comes standard, so you don't even need to enter a promo code, but if you click through this link, it'll get you to all those products, and you'll automatically save 50% in the month of July on those setups. And guys order a lot of them, and we may extend it through August if it's successful. Our goal is to get people to try this product, because we know once you try it and get your art set up and show your clients, they're going to buy it and they're going to love it. All right, have time for a couple more questions, and then we're going to wrap it up. So just to cover, let me go a full wrap of time and temperatures again, just to make sure we're good. And I'm going to err on the side of more, because it's not going to hurt your hat and it's going to be safe. So let's start with the Ultra Color product. So Ultra Color, we're going to press it with the thin cover pad. We're going to be at 280 degrees on top and 320 degrees on bottom, and we're going to do 45 seconds. It's a true cold peel, so let it cool completely down before you peel the backing. If you really wanted to get the blend into the seam on a hat, cover it again with the pad and load it back on the press, and just give it an extra 15 seconds or so to seat it down in to get really nice, good quality contact. When you're working with Flex Style, which is this one, Flex Style, you can go as little as 20 seconds with the thin cover pad at 280 degrees on top, 320 on bottom, or you can run it as much as 45 seconds. Anything in between there is going to work. I've been running mine 30 to 35 seconds just because I want a little more to guarantee adhesion, and the quality is awesome. Again, thin cover pad, pull it off the press to peel the backing. Leather patches, it's on the website, but on the leather patches, basically thin cover pad again, 30 to 35 seconds, 280 top, 320 on bottom. There's nothing to peel, so it's finished with one application. And then 3D embroidery is the one that's going to require the medium thickness cover pad, still 320 on top, 280 on top, 320 on bottom for everything. Medium thickness cover pad and 60 seconds on this one. So the full amount of time you can do. Don't worry, it's not going to scorch because we're using that thicker cover pad, so no big deal on that. And we get really good contact. I've been wearing a Red Sox hat since I was at the show in, I want to say January. And I wear hats pretty regularly and no issues at all with the quality of the product. The embroidered emblems will come out soon. Again, we're going to launch that next month, and that's where you just have your traditional embroidered emblem, adhesive, no 3D at all, but we'll have the applications and everything that we'll publish for this when we launch it next month. And then we have some other cool products for hats coming behind that. And right now we do not have stock logos in anything other than that American flag that I showed you in ultra color. And somebody wanted to see the face mask, so it should be cooled down now. So after it's been pressed, it's going to peel the backing off of the face mask, and there's our finished logo. So because it was ultra color soft, I'm letting it cool completely down. It's a really nice product to be able to decorate these. I did a video, if you watch our Stahls TV YouTube channel. If not, please subscribe. I did a video where I was able to do 90 logos up on a full 11.5 by 18-inch sheet and really drive the cost per logo down to 10 cents to a quarter. And that's full color, as many colors as you want in the logo. So that ultra color is an awesome product. Watch our video to learn fully about that. I can't explain it with the time we have left because I'm already over 2 minutes. So last thing that I want to say is thank you for attending live education like this. I think we have pretty close to record attendance on this event, which shows that you guys are interested in establishing new revenue categories for your business. Hopefully, I was able to teach you some things today, not only about how to functionally print the hats and use the machine, but make profit with hats and show this as a real opportunity for you and your business. We'll keep doing education. Please keep giving us feedback and sharing your ideas. Thanks for all the comments today. And to close, I forgot to cold peel the last hat. I just got reminded. The one that printed on back with the print location. So I'm just going to peel the backing. It's cooled completely down. And I have flip it back in here, and I have the completed results. So nice and easy. Brand 360 degrees on your hat. Get on that list for the 360 IQ. Hope you guys have an awesome week. And if you watch us on Facebook, I'll be streaming live Thursday at 11, doing some more how-to education. Bye.